Women say that they support women, but they only support single women. Women don't support married women. They love to be divisive and divide the woman from the man and make the husband the enemy.
There is not a soul more divisive or more cooperative with misogyny than patriarchal handmaiden bitches. Let's get into it. She said that single women love to try to separate the woman from the man. I had a former friend accuse me of this. Her now ex-husband, she finally got the strength and the sense to leave this fucker, but her now ex-husband was beating the shit out of her. Throwing her downstairs, throwing her through walls. I mean, the worst. And I was accused of trying to separate the woman from the man because I did not agree that she should stay in a marriage where she was getting beaten for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Like, I just don't believe that a woman should be getting beat on by a man for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And somehow that made me divisive as a friend. I find that so interesting. And I find that also disingenuous.
The other day, my friend was complaining to me that she and her boyfriend got into a fight, so as her punishment, he got to download Tinder and swipe through other girls and ask them out on dates while she was forced to watch in silence for 3 days.
Let me tell you something. This is insane. And this is exactly the kind of shit I'm talking about. How dare these bitches get up here and say that we don't have their backs when this is the kind of shit that they want us to hold them down through? Sis, you can't be serious. A Tinder punishment for 3 days? What?
And as you guys know, I've never been in a relationship before, which I honestly think is a huge superpower whenever my friends come to me with their relationship problems because it allows me to analyze the situation from a unique perspective. My friend was telling me about her Tinder punishment, and I was like, believe it or not, you don't have to put up with that. I was like, you're so patient and forgiving. There's so many people out there who would never take advantage of that, who will give you the respect you deserve, who will never make you prove your worth to them. And she was like, oh yeah, if there's so many men out there who can do that, where's yours?
And there you have it. Married women and women in relationships are just as evil and fucked up as men are toward women. Because the bitches don't have no self-loyalty. They're not loyal to themselves. So how the hell are they going to be loyal to you as a woman? This is a woman who's sacrificing herself so that she isn't single, so that she can say she has a man, because she's self-loathing and spineless, and she doesn't love herself, she doesn't like herself, she can't stand her own company. So she has to have a man. And her entire identity is wrapped up in her having a man. Not her being in a quality relationship with a quality person who cares about her and respects her. Not her being in a relationship that feeds her and that empowers and emboldens her, but just her having any old funky ass piece of nigga so that she can shit on single women. Let me tell you something. I know I just said let me tell you something so many times, but let me tell you something else. If that's what it takes to have a relationship, then I'm finna go to the plant nursery and buy me 50 more plants and happily live in Goddess house with me and my plant babies and keep men far the fuck away from me. Men are not the be all to end all. They ain't really worth nothing. As my daddy would have said, men ain't worth the cum it took to make them. And his daddy should have shot him in a napkin instead of implanting him in a fertile womb. That's what my own father would have said about the vast majority of men before he passed away. And I am of the mind to agree with him. There is nothing to prize about the kind of relationships that the vast majority of women find themselves in. And I have to say the vast majority. I'm learning to tailor the way that I speak to the lower intellect among us, because the mentally incompetent among us need you to say some or not all because they're too stupid to do it for themselves. So if you don't say it, that's all that they're going to focus on because their brain short circuit. So the greater percentage of women, the vast majority of women who are in relationships are in fucked up relationships. They're in unequal relationships. They're in relationships where men do dehumanizing, soul-sucking shit to them. And they tolerate it just so they could say, well, at least I got a man. Just so they could shit on the very same quote unquote friend, which says that bitch is not your friend, but just so they could shit on the same quote unquote friend that they're also going to whine and cheese about some nigga. So when I say opt the fuck out, opt out of that too.